Hi everyone. I hope you guys are able to see and hear me. Could someone give me a quick yes? Awesome. Awesome. So Vivan, let me know as soon as we go live, I'll start it off. I have shared my screen, so you should be able to see something called crypto asset valuation engine. Could you let me know if that's visible? Awesome. So hi everyone. Today what we're going to talk about is the concept of valuing different kinds of cryptos. So as you know that there are many different kinds of cryptos in the world. Everything is not the same. All of them don't behave like currencies, which is why you will notice I never use the word cryptocurrency. I always use the word crypto asset. So now the first kind of crypto that I'd like to teach you how to value is a ready money crypto, which is something like if you can read here. So these can be used to buy and sell products and services. So that's kind of what cash does for us in the regular world. And certain cryptos like Bitcoin and Litecoin, they do exactly that in the blockchain world. But of course, when it comes to Bitcoin, we also have to remember that some people consider Bitcoin to be a store of value. Right, I'm one of those people also because I believe things like Litecoin in the future are more likely to be used for e-cash, and Bitcoin at some point in the future is going to become more and more acceptable as a store of value. But now let's see how we do this actual valuation. So let me say we want to value Bitcoin. So first we put the symbol, let's put the name. Now we need to enter the 24-hour volume and the circulating supply. So if you look at the latest details for Bitcoin, what we can see is that the volume in the last 24 hours is around this, which is about 39 billion. So let me just quickly paste it here. Now, volume means how much of that crypto has changed hands in the last 24 hours. Now, ideally, this should have been the amount of Bitcoin spent to buy and sell things. But most of this transaction is actually just people buying and selling Bitcoin, hoping to make money from that. But anyway, the formula is we take that 24-hour volume and we enter the circulating supply, which is here. So as you all know, circulating supply is the amount of tokens that are available in the market that ordinary people like you and me can buy. It is not tokens which are locked up in a vesting period. It is openly available. Now, once we've entered this information, let's click on calculate. Now, as of right now, according to my formula which I use, Bitcoin should be around $20,700. And if we see that the value right now is about 18,700. Now, when we generate this, obviously this single figure represents an average. But I believe that we should look at three different graphs here. So one is if you are bearish, which means you believe that, okay, you know what, Bitcoin's not very highly valued, it should be low valued because of certain problems, either in the industry or in Bitcoin, whatever you feel. Then you could be neutral or you could be bullish. So you know what, bullish is somebody who expects prices to be higher. Now, depending upon which of the three you are, these three graphs get generated. And the formula at the background, what I use is that the market cap of a crypto, which is a ready money kind of a crypto, which is used as e-cash, if you are bearish, it should be 8 times the volume. If you are neutral, it should be 10 times the volume. And if you are bullish, it should be 12 times the volume. That is what the market cap should be, right? Abhishek's question is maybe know what is the formula. Yeah, Abhishek, I'm just showing that formula. So first step in that formula is to calculate the market cap depending upon whether you are bullish, bearish or neutral. And the price prediction is market cap divided by circulating supply. I mean, that's the standard formula. We know what it is. Market cap's formula is this, price into circulating supply. So in this method, what we are really trying to do is looking at the 24-hour volume, multiplying it by 8, 10 or 12, dividing it by the circulating supply, and thereby getting an answer. Do you have any questions on this? Is it easy to understand? And like I said, these three graphs here also would help you, that when we talk about these three scenarios, and if the volume is low, current, or high volume, so we are trying to predict that if the volume moves upwards, then we can expect the price, as you can see on the screen, to go to about $29,854. And worst case scenario, if we are bearish and we expect volumes to fall, it's about 13,000. So this is the range also which gets plotted. Now, I've been using this for about, I think, over 2 years now. So say from early 2021, actually mid 2020, I've been using these formulae, and I find that in most cases, the formulae really hold well. And it gives me a good indication about where a crypto is heading, whether we should be buying it or not, selling it or not. What do you guys feel? Do you have any questions? The formula here is visible on the screen, so I hope that's clear. If there are no questions, just quickly, if you could someone just type it in. All fine, all good, whatever. Or if there are questions, you can definitely put them in here. I hope you guys are able to see and hear, because I'm not, okay, all clear, that's awesome. Now, the second kind of thing that, the second thing that I'd like to value, let me just go back. When we look at privacy coins, so now, as you all know, that cryptos like Bitcoin are not considered fully anonymous, because all their transactions can be viewed on a blockchain explorer. So that means, once I get someone's address, I can see all the transactions that address has ever made. Now, obviously, that's not an ideal situation, which is why then the concept of privacy coins came up. Now, privacy coins means they are private by default, right? So classic example would be Monero, XMR, and that's one of my favorite privacy coins. So if we were to value Monero, this is what I would do. So now let's look again. We need to find the 24-hour volume, which we can see is here. Let me paste that. And we need to get the circulating supply. And let's press calculate. So it shows that approximately $77, and as of right now, we can see the price is 138. So here, what we could presume, based upon our calculations, that probably Monero, as of right now, is very overvalued. So here what the formula I use is, it's the same concept like Bitcoin, but here we change these numbers and they value at a higher point. So 10, 13 and 17. Now you'll be wondering, why do we want to give it more of a valuation when we compare it to a regular crypto like Bitcoin? Because privacy coins by their very nature are giving a level of anonymity, and thereby they deserve to be valued a little higher than regular cryptocurrencies which do not give us that privacy angle. Now, another thing I'd like to talk to you about here is that why do we even consider the volume? Like, why is it important? Can someone answer that question for me? Like, why are we talking about volume? Bhanu's question is, what derives these multiples for market cap? So what I have done is I've created these formulae based on about 3 years of data. So I took a very detailed record available from various sites like CoinMarketCap over the last several years, downloaded the day by day data, and then did a lot of calculations that what is the usual formula which is working. And over 3 years, these are the formula that I've seen have been working the most. Abhishek's question is, liquidity is a very important feature in valuation. You're absolutely right. So what liquidity means is that how much of that crypto is actually available to buy and sell. And volume is a very good indicator of that, which is the reason I take volume as the major metric here. Because the more the volume, it also shows us there is more liquidity, because that much of that crypto is available to trade on a daily basis, right? Preeti says, more the volume of transactions, it shows people are interested. You are absolutely right. And in fact, it is not just for crypto, it is also for the fiat currencies. So when we look at the US dollar, a lot of people wonder, why is the US dollar priced so high compared to most of the other currencies of the world? And again, you will realize the main reason is the volume. because globally people use the US dollar for all international transactions, automatically the US dollar gets a much higher valuation as compared to other currencies which are only used in say one country. So a Singapore dollar would not be that valued even though the economy may be solid because it is not really used globally. Aditya says volume is nothing but the number of handshakes happening between crypto fiat. Yeah, sure. I mean, the term for it is volume, but you're absolutely right. It's how much of that crypto or how much of that fiat currency has actually changed hands over the last 24 hours. Ritesh says, but many meme coins, etc., which may not have much use case, would also have huge volume. So, Ritesh, that's a good point. But I also believe that why do we say that meme coins do not have a use case? I mean, I'll ask you a very simple logic. What is the use case of Litecoin? I mean, which is one of the most popular cryptocurrencies in the world, or what, for that matter, what is the use case of Bitcoin? It's supposed to be used as a medium of exchange. Now, you'll be surprised to know, but Dogecoin is also used as a medium of exchange. In fact, let me just show you. So if we talk about Dogecoin and we see the use cases that it supports, you actually will be quite surprised that there is a list of businesses which use Dogecoin as a medium of exchange. Okay, it's somewhere here. Okay, the link is on their website. Let me just figure out. Okay, so anyway, I'm currently not. I'll find this link and show it to you guys. But on their website, they've actually listed where Dogecoin is. Let me just quickly Google that. So where is it accepted as a medium of exchange? And you are going to be surprised when you see the list. There's a huge number. Well, unfortunately, yeah, here it is. So I'm going to a neutral site and it's got a whole list of places where you can actually use Dogecoin as a medium of exchange. So who are we to say that it doesn't have a use case? As long as there are enough people in the world happy with it, and whether you call it a meme coin or not doesn't make any difference. Meme coin simply means it uses a meme as its logo. But other than that, technologically, Dogecoin is really good. And someone like an Elon Musk regularly says that it will become more and more important as a medium of exchange. So we would kind of use the same formula for that. Aditya says that is because the owner of meme coin pump and dump their money. Well, so when it comes to Dogecoin, if we actually look at some of the statistics, I'm not trying to defend it in the sense like I'm not really a trader in meme coins or anything, but I'm trying to tell you there are a lot of people who actually believe in Dogecoin, right? They believe that it can be used for a lot of good use cases because technologically it's considered very robust. Let me just. So when we look at Dogecoin, right? So we are able to see that there is still a strong volume. So there is about $347 million worth of Dogecoin which is being traded on a day-to-day basis. So that obviously means there are a lot of people who are interested, who feel that it is a strong one. And if we look at its price movements, so yes, we've seen that it's spiked here and then it's come down all the way, but then you never know, it may actually start to go up again. It just depends upon how the use cases really come about. And if you look at so many other cryptos which have strong use cases, but in the crypto crash, they fell much more than Dogecoin and they haven't really bounced back. So I would say it's like possible that Dogecoin would actually go up again. But anyway, here we are talking about the privacy coins. So I would say as of right now, if I think Monero should be worth 77, but Monero is worth about 138, which is twice of that. So I would not go in for it. I would think it is overvalued. And unless there is some very specific use case. Yeah, someone just sent me a link. Let me see what that says. So unless there is a very specific good or bad turn in it, we probably would feel that it is not really working. So yeah, link, so you can take it from the chat, that there are companies which are actually accepting it, and that's including Twitch, which is a pretty popular one, Tesla definitely. So there are quite a few which are accepting Dogecoin. So you never know, it may actually really go up in future. Any other questions on this? Is this part clear? Some companies are using Doge for payments like Tesla. Yes, you're absolutely right on that. Now, if there are no questions on this, let me go on the third type. Now here, I want to talk about public blockchain natives. Now, these are probably the most important cryptos because they are the fundamental ways in which you pay for using certain platforms. So whether you talk about Ethereum mainnet, which uses ETH, or the Solana blockchain, which uses SOL, this is the currency which you are going to use to do transactions on that blockchain. And that's the reason we call them public blockchain natives, because they are native to that particular chain and they are used to pay gas or transaction fees. So here, if we look at the example of Avalanche, let's say, okay. So, I mean, I like that project. So let me see. So when we go to Avalanche, and we can see that as of right now, the volume of, no, sorry, we don't see volume in this. What we look at when it comes to public blockchain natives is the total value locked and the circulating supply. Now, circulating supply, we all know what it means. So let me just quickly copy that from here. And now let's go and get the TVL from DeFi Llama. I don't know it. Okay, it seems to. Just give me a second. I've got too many tabs open, so let me just open DeFi Llama again. So as all of you know, TVL or total value locked means what is the total value in dollars of all the different projects or tokens which are running on a particular blockchain. And that we consider as a very important way to gauge how successful that particular blockchain is, because DeFi is considered the most important use case of blockchain. Oh, my net seems to be a little slow. Yeah, okay. So here when we go, we can see that Avalanche has a TVL of about 1.6 billion. So let me just enter that here. This would be 1.6 billion. And if we see the valuation, so according to me, it should be about $16. And right now it is about 16.97. So about $17. So I would feel that this is a good price for it. So here again, we can see that it's fairly simple. So the formula that we use in this case is again bearish, neutral, and bullish. So what formula we do is we do TVL multiplied by 1 if you are bearish, 3 if you are neutral, 4 if you are bullish. And then that is divided by the circulating supply, and there it can give us the answers. So depending, if you're really bearish, you would say it's about $5, really bullish is 22. And if you're neutral, the prediction is about $16. And as we can see, the price is $17. So I think it's currently very well priced. So now let me answer some of your questions. Ritesh says, is there any way that we can use metrics like TVL to value a crypto asset since it's total of, yeah. So Ritesh, as you can see here, when it comes to public blockchains, especially used in DeFi, TVL becomes the most important for us. And when we look at some of the other TVLs, one second. So let me just shut all these sites. So when we look at all the other public blockchains here, they're usually always ranked by way of TVL. Ethereum, of course, rules, which is about 29 billion as of right now. And then we have Tron. But you know, I told you last time that the problem with Tron is that there are just 3 projects which control maybe 99% of this TVL. And those projects also are run internally by the Tron team themselves. I mean, it's part and parcel of their group, which is the reason then that becomes a big red flag for me. And in that situation, I wouldn't use the valuation model that I would use for other public blockchains. So you have to remember that these formulae, when you use, that is only up to one level. But after that, we have to look at ground realities. How much of that crypto is actually being used? You know, so for that, as you know, I use a particular method called ROHAS. Let me show you how that works. So in that, we use it for all other kinds of crypto. So even a governance token like a Uniswap could come in, securities could come in, or application tokens or utility tokens could come into the picture. Now in that, we need to select which category does that crypto come under. So do we consider it an application crypto? So an example of that would be Filecoin. Do we consider it a governance? Example would be Uniswap. Or is it a security? In that case, we give it a much higher valuation of 7 times. And the reason for it is because you're actually getting ownership of the platform. So it becomes very similar to, say, an equity share. Then we enter the revenue potential. How much money do we think this crypto could generate over the next 3 years? Now, for this, you could use sites like Token Terminal, which we've seen in the past. They give you the protocol revenue or the overall total revenue of the project. So you could enter that here. Then you are going to gauge the organization, the history, algorithm, and social parameters on a scale of 1 to 10. Enter your numbers here, click a button, and it will give you a valuation. Now, I'd like to again be honest here that you cannot blindly trust these valuations. But in my experience over the last few years, they've been very, very accurate, helping me at least. Now, I see a lot of questions, so let me quickly answer some of them. Out of X, 8, 10, and 12, the market sentiment to be accounted for bullish or bearish, or someone's opinion? So, Ashish, that's a very good question. That when we talk about this bullish, bearish, you have to go with your sentiment. So you've got to feel that based on what the market is currently doing, do you agree with it? And then try to extrapolate what do you think the general market is trying to do. Now, if what the market thinks and what you think are different, actually that is when you can make big money. Because if you are bullish and the entire market is bullish, now in that scenario, the problem is the price is not going to be good for you to make much money on that. Let me just quickly first switch off the, sorry. I've got way too many windows open. So let me stop sharing. Okay. So if you look at what Warren Buffett said, now Warren Buffett says, you should be greedy when everybody else is fearful, and you should be fearful when everybody else is greedy. So what he means is, if everybody in the market is bullish and the prices are going up, at that time you should exit because it is going to crash. And if everybody is bearish and the markets are going down, that's the time to buy. And I've seen over the last maybe 20, 30 years, it's very true. Because when the whole market is bullish, like sometime few months ago, everybody was bullish and people were saying Bitcoin will go to 100,000, 200,000. But the problem is, if everybody is thinking like that, it is not going to hold on forever because everybody is buying it, right? So if everybody is buying it, there has to be a time when everybody wants to book profit. And at that time, suddenly everybody decides to sell and the whole thing can crash. So you've got to go against the market sentiment. If the market is bullish, you need to be bearish. If the market is bearish, you need to be bullish. But again, you need to be very careful. I never advise that people take loans or people do derivatives where they're short selling huge quantities. That's a recipe for disaster. But by and large, I've noticed that you should try to go against the market when it comes to bullish or bearish sentiment. And you guys may have heard of an index called the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. One of the best ways of trying to, figure out what people are thinking. In that index, if everybody is on the fearful side, maybe a good opportunity for you to buy. If everybody is greedy, maybe a good opportunity for you to sell. Someone's question from LinkedIn is, what is the future of Shibai? Yeah, so unfortunately, that is one project which makes no sense to me. And I'll tell you why. Why I think Dogecoin is better. Because see, Shiba Inu, to the best of my knowledge, I think is just an ERC20 token. So it has no technology under it. But when you look at the Dogecoin, it has its own blockchain, which is a very strong technology. And that is something which can be used and leveraged very well in the future. You may actually see a lot of L2 solutions coming on it. The number of Dogecoins are pretty high, so it can be used as a medium of exchange. People like Vitalik, he's the founder of the Ethereum project, they are part of the technology of building team of Dogecoin also. So that's the reason I never consider Dogecoin to be on the same level as something like a Shiba Inu. Again, my personal opinion on this. Harshit's question is, does high on-chain volume indicate high adoption since most of the trading traffic are on centralized exchanges? Yeah, Harshit, that's a very good point. So in fact, there's another thing to remember, that how do we even know that these figures are authentic? So when I go to CoinMarketCap, it is owned by Binance. So I can presume a lot of this data is just coming from Binance. But if I use something like Messari, so that's another very, very interesting platform which I would strongly recommend to use. They actually take trading volumes from multiple exchanges and then try to give you an average. So usually they are able to give you better data. Okay, Aditya's question is really wrong. Can you help me with a realistic crypto project like Power Ledger, which is an energy? Okay, so what I would do, Aditya, in this kind of a project, I would try to use the ROHAS model, which I just showed you guys, that we would try to see what is the revenue. We would then see organization, history, algorithm, and social. We would give it the points, and then we would say, okay, this is our valuation. So you could try that out. I mean, it's fairly simple. I'll also try it out. But this particular one that you are referring to, Power Ledger, I'm not aware of this project. I've not really researched on it, so I don't know much about it. One thing which I would also like to tell you is, I believe that if a project is listed on, say, a site like Token Terminal, and they are actually mapping the revenue, that gives me confidence in that project, that I can get authentic data about the revenue being generated, because that revenue is on chain. It is not an off-chain centralized exchange related data. It is actually on-chain data which they are able to give you. So usually that's a very big plus point for me, that if Token Terminal can give me the revenue data of that particular project. How are the individual projects valued in a protocol? Are these verified or certified? So Ritesh, that's a good point. So what happens is when we use something like DeFi Llama, so let me just quickly share my screen. Give me a second. Okay. So when we look at DeFi Llama and we go to the list of projects. So here what DeFi Llama does is they pull this data from a lot of on-chain sources and they give you all this data like TVL of each project. So if you want to know what it is for right now for MakerDAO, for MKR, you can see the TVL here. And then you can also see the MCAP to TVL. Now this becomes a very important ratio. And as I discussed with you, for public blockchains, I believe 3 is a good ratio. But when it comes to others, you need to go into the category. So for example, here it is showing us all the different cryptos in order of TVL and then shows us categories. So if I go straight into categories, so here I can see that these are the categories that are being tracked. So the most popular category is DEXs or decentralized exchanges. There are about 542 or 52 of these. Then there is lending. Then there are bridges. Then there are CDPs, which are collateralized debt positions. So like this, there are about 27 categories of DeFi projects. The combined TVLs are here, but then we ideally need to go in and we need to see, okay, on the overall, what is this TVL to MCAP ratio of DEXs? And then we need to start mapping things like Uniswap and other DEXs. So because when we go into the DEXs, we will see which are the top ones. So here we see that Curve is the first one, Uniswap second, PancakeSwap third. So here it gives us a lot of information and we can see the MCAP to TVL. So here you notice Curve is 0.07, whereas Uniswap is 0.9. Now 0.9 is like almost equal to 1, which means how much ever is the TVL, that is the market cap of Uniswap. But that's not the case with things like Curve or even with things like PancakeSwap. So this kind of gives me an indication that the market is happier with certain projects like Uniswap as compared to projects like PancakeSwap. So here we need to compare. We cannot compare all DeFi cryptos with each other. We need to go based on category. I can now start to compare DEXs only. But again, we have to remember Uniswap is on Ethereum, whereas PancakeSwap is on Binance Chain. So now here again, we've got to think, what do we see as the future? Do we feel over the long run, Ethereum will continue to grow in importance? Then Uniswap is better. But if we feel Binance Smart Chain is going to be better, then PancakeSwap is something we'd focus on. So, you know, there are lots of these things that we need to consider before we make our decisions. Let me see some more questions. So Ritesh says, how are individual projects valued? So I've just given you an indication of that. Always go based on category. Then the sign up for future. Yes. So Anish, you're right. It is currently only available to students of some of my courses. So soon I'll make it available to more and more people. Fear and Greed Index. Yes, Aditya has sent the link. Let me just quickly show it to you. So I really believe in this index a lot because they use a lot of social media and other things to gauge what does the market feel. So right now we can see the market is in extreme fear. Yesterday it was in fear, last week was extreme fear, and so for a long time now it's on fear. So if the market is ever here in the greens, it's always a good time to sell. But when the market is low, it's not always a good time to buy. So that's another thing you need to remember. Because we need to see, is there any fundamental problem? Right now, there are so many negative sentiments in the market. So why should the market go up? So we need to wait for some solid positive news to come, and then we can start deciding whether it's a good time to buy. As far as I'm considered, I exited the market on 31st March. I told everyone on social media that I'm exiting at that time, and a lot of people exited. And one of my main reasons was the Indian crypto tax which was coming in. Now, being a person based in India, for me that was a very big hit, that if I have to pay 30% tax on every profit without getting a write-off for the losses that I'm making. But anyway, I felt at that time the market was overvalued. I have not entered the market back again till now. Let me see some other questions. Question is, which multiple to take? If I'm bullish on a crypto in a bear market, should I? So Ashish, that's a very good question, but unfortunately it is not simple. See, this is a very complex thing, and I'm just giving you your first lecture. So there's lots more that we have to consider. So for example, I would say have a look at the revenue data from token terminal. I hope you guys are able to see token terminal on my screen. Can you see that? Can someone give me a quick yes if you can see it? Awesome. So if we look at token terminals, so they maintain data for some of the top projects, right? Okay, it's a little slow. Let's just So here we can see a whole list of projects that they are going to be tracking. So if you look at the left hand side, you'll be able to see many of these projects listed here. So here, 1inch, Aave. So when a project is listed here and its revenue is actually being tracked, that's a very important thing for me. So if we look, for example, at something like a Dogecoin, so we can see that it is doing some kind of tracking for Dogecoin, and it says that the Dogecoin total revenue generated over the last 30 days is about $42,000. Annualize it, and you get about $500 million. So this, and then it gives you the P by S ratio, and then you also have the P by E ratio, which is not really applicable to things like Dogecoin. So I would also give a lot of importance to which projects are being tracked by token terminal. Usually I stick to those projects because I believe if a project is not important enough for them to track, then it's kind of not important enough for me to follow or invest in. Bitcoin NVT is also a great signal for getting the mid. Yeah, so NVT is the net value transactions or something. Could you remind me what the full form was? Okay. I forgot what exactly NVT was. I think it's net volume. Okay, just you'll have to just type that in for me. So the point I'm trying to make here is when you are deciding on buying a crypto or not buying a crypto, you have to look at it from 2 points of view, right? So whenever we look at it, we've got to remember that there is mathematical. So if you look here, there are subjective, mathematical, and mixed models. So subjective means where you are giving your inputs based on what you think. So things like grading the organization, grading the history, algorithm, and social. But when we use the ready-made formula that I was showing you, that's pure mathematics. But ideally, we try to merge both of these together, and we call those hybrid. And then we decide how to actually follow those cryptos. Another thing which works pretty well for me is I just look at it this way, that on what kinds of platforms am I getting business on? So as you know, I'm a blockchain developer and a blockchain architect. So if I feel a lot of my clients are happy with a particular blockchain, then I realize that, okay, you know what, maybe that's what the industry likes more. So let's just keep a token of that. Because for me, the crypto is also like a medium of exchange I have to use. So if I'm developing projects on Binance, I need to keep BNB with me. If I'm developing on Ethereum, I need to keep ETH with me so that whenever I have to do transactions, I pay. So for example, I run something called the Learn token. Now Learn token runs on Binance. Every time that I give someone Learn tokens in a MetaMask kind of wallet, I have to pay transaction fees. It's about maybe 2-3 rupees, but I have to pay it in BNB. So depending on the number of transactions, it is better for me to keep some BNB so that if the price goes up, it doesn't really impact me much. So there are lots and lots of factors that we need to consider, and none of this would work for NFTs because most of the common NFTs today, like Bored Ape Yacht Club and all, I don't believe in any of them. I think they are completely useless projects which are all going to go to zero. So I don't value NFT. So in fact, here you can see only those kind of cryptos which you see in green are the ones that I would value. So NFTs definitely not. Algorithmic stable coins definitely not. I've always hated them, and the destruction of Terra Luna actually proved the point that they are not good. And when it comes to asset-backed cryptos, we cannot use these formula because we have to value it directly based on the asset. So if it is a gold-backed crypto, then we would value it on gold's price, not on anything else. And then of course we have lending, borrowing kind of cryptos, like maybe the DeFi projects, some of them. There again, we cannot use these formula. We have to use a completely different method. So Santosh says about, yeah, so DAI as well as Aave, we will not be able to use the formula that I showed you. We will use these ones. So we will try to get them into this category. So there we begin with the category here. We could put them into application, or we could try to come out with other ways of valuing it because we know their revenue model. But I'll tell you where the problem comes. Have you noticed that during this recent crypto crash, a lot of the very big projects shut down because people defaulted on the loans? So it's just like banks. A bank gives loans. What happens if the customers of the bank default on the loan? They don't pay back the loan. What do you think is going to happen? So during that situation, when the customer defaults, the bank could go bankrupt. And the same thing can happen to a lot of the DeFi cryptos. If their money is locked up in places and the return is defaulted on, well, it could go to zero. So there we've got to bring in the risk element. So again, if you use a site like Messari, let me just open it up for you. They've got a lot of this very good data. So Messari.io, I would strongly recommend you guys look. They even give you the risk ratings. So that is something that I would strongly recommend that you look at. So for example, if you go into Bitcoin, so you will see you can go deeper and deeper and see a lot of their metrics. So here somewhere or the other you will also find risk. So ROI, yeah, risk metrics. Can you see this? Can you give me a quick yes if you guys can see the risk metrics here, the Sharpe ratio and the volatility? Can someone give me? Yeah, okay, awesome. So here we can see that the Sharpe ratios as well as the volatility, these are being tracked very well by Messari. So I would always say when it comes to a DeFi crypto, we should look at the Sharpe and the volatility. It gives us a good idea of the risk metrics, and that has to be factored into our, but I haven't been able to figure out any formula for DeFi yet, which is why I usually stay far away from those projects, because it's very, very difficult for me to figure out how to value those. Abhishek says, any idea what would be the future of Terra? Okay, so personally, I think it's a dead project, and now especially considering that the South Korean government has even issued an arrest warrant for the founder of Terra Luna. I've forgotten the name, Do Kwon or something it's called. That kind of scares me more, because if the founder of the project is going to be in prison, I don't think that's a good thing for the project. So personally, I'm not at all bullish on it, but I would say again, yeah, that's right. The name is Do Kwon. So I would say don't delete your Terra out of anger or anything. Just let it be. You never know. Someday it may get some value. But I don't see much happening. Nobody's really using their blockchain anymore. So I kind of think that project is over. I mean, I didn't see it coming. I'll be very honest with you. For 2022, when I made my list of my top blockchains, Terra was there on it at one time. I also didn't. I mean, very few people saw the crash coming. So that was quite a bad thing. Any other questions? Anchor protocol is, yeah, sure. I think Anchor, yeah, I'll have to research more into Anchor. So in fact, if you look at give me a second. So Anchor is not tracked by token terminal. So my advice to you guys is go for those tokens or go deeper into research of tokens where token terminal is giving you this data. So that kind of is a better way to do it. Harshal says it is running on a new chain. Oh, okay, maybe. I've not been following Anchor protocol for quite some time. Any other questions? Okay. So great. I'm going to be doing a session on building a career in token economics. So that is something which I feel a lot of you will also benefit from. So it's going to be not this Friday, I think next Friday. So you can just see my streams on Creator and you can sign up for that one. And I think that'll benefit you guys quite a bit because I'll go a little deeper into what is it that a token economist does and how you can get into that field. So I think that'll be quite useful. I hope to see some of you guys there. Yeah, so Kingsley says how to sign up for the Future Money wallet. Yeah, so I'll be opening up Future Money wallet now to people who are doing some of my courses because Future Money wallet is not really a typical wallet. The name is wallet, but it's not like that. It is a place for token economists to use. And there we'll be pulling data from many places and integrating that API into one interface. So it makes it easy for us to make decisions. So Kingsley, very soon I'll announce how you can sign up for it. Ritesh is asking, do you foresee reduction in volatility of crypto assets anytime soon? No, I don't. I think volatility is very inherent to crypto and people make money only when there is volatility. So I don't think that volatility is going to go away. Aditya says, any other terminal apart from token terminal where we can track cryptos? So like I said, you would use CoinMarketCap, Messari, you would use this. I've also made a post on my Instagram about the 5 best sites for crypto metrics. So token terminal was there, DeFi Llama was there, CoinMarketCap is there, Messari is there, and there's a 5th one that I can't recall. The 5 really good ones. Yeah, Kingsley says he wants to use the valuator. Yeah, I'll open it up very soon for you guys. Any other questions? And also over the next few days, I'm going to be regularly valuing cryptos and putting it up. So if you're following me on any of the social platforms like LinkedIn or Instagram, you'll be getting access to that. So I'll start valuing it based on all these different factors. And I hope that'll help you guys. But always remember, never buy a crypto because someone recommends it. Do your own research because everyone has a different perspective of thinking. So, and everyone has a different risk appetite. So don't just blindly listen to anyone. Don't even listen to me. If I ever say buy this crypto, although I never do that, I may be bullish on it, but doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing for you to buy. Bhanu says, which asset will you suggest for a hybrid blockchain startup in India considering CBDC? So Bhanu, what I'd like to say, we don't even know whether CBDC will use blockchain. I don't think India CBDC will be on blockchain. In fact, I don't even think it should be on blockchain. I don't believe CBDCs should run on blockchains. So I don't think that will make much of an impact. Ritesh says next homework for crypto valuation. Yeah. So this is the end of the masterclass. So we finished all our sessions. What I want you guys to now start doing is, I want you to come out with your valuation reports. Let me just switch the sharing off. Yeah. So now I want you guys to practically put this knowledge to use. So pick your favorite cryptos. I mean, take one project, but I want you to go deep into that project. So of course, you will give the valuations based on different formulae. You will do it based on revenue. But why do you think it's a good crypto, right? So what is your thought process? Like suppose, can one of you just name your favorite crypto project? Anyone? I mean, what is your favorite? And I'll tell you how to analyze it. Okay, so Abhishek says MakerDAO. Okay, Anish says Monero. Okay, someone says Filecoin, Banu, and Arshil says okay. Great, Bitcoin, Polkadot, awesome. So now let's look at it this way. Suppose we were trying to value MakerDAO. Then the first thing we need to do with MakerDAO is we need to see what are the options. What are the competitors to MakerDAO? How does it stack up against those? And what do we feel in the future? Are some of the competitors going to go up? Because in any given category of crypto, you cannot expect the top 10 to do well. You can expect at most the top 3 to do well. So will this crypto remain in the top 3 of that particular category? Then we can bring in the next level of the technology, the kind of news we are reading about it. Then we do the ROHS analysis and we try to come out with our valuation. So for Monero, for example, Monero is a privacy coin. So here we are going to consider, are more countries likely to ban Monero? See, Monero is already getting banned in some places because it's a privacy coin. If more countries ban it, is that good or is that bad for the crypto? So again, you've got to give your analysis. For some cryptos, it is actually good that it is banned because the users will then use it more. For example, Monero, huge uses are in the illegal world. right? A lot of criminals use it. The more the countries that ban it, the more the criminal realizes that, oh, Monero must be so strong that the government is scared of it, so let me use it more. So being banned may actually be a good thing for Monero. But then there's also a risk. Being banned, it will not be listed on centralized exchanges, so liquidity may fall. So you have to consider all these factors. So I want you guys to now do a proper research and come out with a simple report on whatever you feel. So Filecoin, again, very good for storage. But then again, we need to see how does it stack up against, say, an RV, Sia coin. There are so many other networks for decentralized storage. So compare it. Polkadot, another good example. Now, Polkadot is doing good things, but then are we seeing enough traction on it? So that would then, we would have to figure that out, what we feel is going to be the future of Polkadot. Keshav says Litecoin, one of my favorites again. So look into the technology. And by the way, did you know that Litecoin and Dogecoin can be merged mined? Which means you mine one, you automatically mine the second. So like there are some cryptos which you can merge mine with Bitcoin. So you mine Bitcoin, you automatically get all those other cryptos because they're using the same hash algorithm. So Litecoin, Dogecoin are also merge mined. So you can actually value them together and try to see and compare that is there a similarity in the movements of Litecoin and Dogecoin. And that will also give you a lot of very interesting insights. Tushar says you are saying to start a DeFi course with Learn Token as exchange. Yes. So I'm good. So what I'm doing, the first program which I'm doing with Learn is actually called Web3 Technology Stack for Developers. So that's going to be the first one that I'm going to be announcing. Actually, I'm waiting for Vivan to tell me when I can announce that. I'm thinking it's going to be tomorrow. Vivan said that he's giving me a nice interface for the people to be able to see the marketplace. So as soon as he does that, which is mostly tomorrow, Vivan, if you're there, you could answer that. I'll be announcing that program, and I want you guys to attend that program. And then I will be announcing one very soon on the tokens also. Santosh says SHA 256. Yeah, so sorry, that's Satoshi. Okay, so all those blockchains which use SHA 256, you would be able to merge mine them together. Ashish says not enough traction, but a lot of acquisitions in Africa. Ashish, which particular project are you talking about? Are you talking about Harmony? Tushar says enough courses for developers. Yes, okay, Tushar, definitely I will do that. I will not do too many more courses for developers, but yes, I will be starting the token economics very, very soon. Vivan says tomorrow morning everyone will get an email. So awesome. The moment Vivan tells us that, I'll be announcing for the token economics. From LinkedIn, there's a question. I want to gain more knowledge about crypto. Kindly know your. So the best way to get in touch with me is through social media. So you could just connect to me on LinkedIn or Instagram and just send me a message. Ashish says Polkadot. Okay, so Polkadot, the problem is I'm not seeing any traction. As in, I'm not really seeing good projects coming up on it. So it's quite disappointing in that way. Harmony one. Okay, let me do some more research on it. Bhanu, it's been a very long time. I've not done any research on Harmony one. Abhishek, if it would be a masterclass like DeFi for tokenomics or just one session. Abhishek, can you give me a day or two to give you that answer? I'll be announcing that. I'm just in the middle of finalizing how to see. I'll tell you the problem that I'm also facing. To actually teach you guys valuation, there are lots and lots of things we need to cover, right? It's not something I can do in just 1 hour. There are 51 crypto metrics you need to understand, and there's lots of other things that we need to do. So I'm trying to figure out what is the best way of getting it across. Nitin says, how do we catch up with the members of this team? How can we interact with each other on the LinkedIn group? Is there a group? Yeah, so on the LinkedIn groups that we have, I mean, you can communicate, anyone can post messages. And well, I'll be setting up a dedicated Telegram group for token economics very soon. Actually, I've already kind of set it up. I'll just share the details with you. Yeah, just give me a day or two, I'll share the details with you. Any other questions? Okay, if any of you are doing the blockchain developer course, our session is going to start at 7, which is about 11 minutes to go. Look forward to your career session on legal career in blockchain, Ritesh. Sure, that is going to be this Friday. How to build a career in blockchain law. Yeah, I hope to see you guys there. Okay, what do you think about Indian startups on blockchain getting inspired from? Bhanu, that's a good question. So I believe that if it's an Indian project, it should run from India and not try to go to Dubai and do it because they're trying to evade the tax system. So I believe we will see more and more projects running successfully from India, targeting the Indian audience, which is, I think, one of the biggest audiences for blockchain. And I'm very happy to share here, the government of India is actually very, very bullish on blockchain. So, you should have a look at a site called blockchain.gov.in. It's a government of India website talking about all the government projects. And did you know that the CBSE results of our country for 10th and 12th are already available on a blockchain? 10th and 12th for I think 3 years. They have already put on the blockchain. So the government of India is extremely bullish. And the Blockchain National Strategy Report, we are the only country in the world that comes out with that every year. They have listed 40 plus use cases which the government is going to implement for blockchain. Thanks for the website, but how the asset life cycle will work? So, Bhanu, you need to explain your question a little more. What exactly do you mean by that? Any other questions? What is your take on non-tech roles, Arish? So for non-tech, I did a session last week called How to Build a Non-Tech Career in Blockchain or Web3. So you could have a look at that video, and there are lots and lots of opportunities in design, marketing, sales, community management, which are pretty good. And especially if you get a remote role with a European or American startup, the salaries are really good. So Bhanu, I'm still not sure what exactly you mean. Sorry, you mean to say about Indian exam results? No. So for the Indian exam results, they are not doing the smart asset lifecycle management. It's more the data being stored on the blockchain so that verification can become easy. Ritesh says, are you planning meetups? Sure, because of the rains we had stopped, but now that the monsoons are over, we'll probably start it off again. And in fact, Crater is doing a very interesting thing called as Encrypt 2022. Vivan, if you could share the link here. It's going to be a lot of live coding and a lot of live events which are going to happen. So I would definitely recommend that you guys should participate in that. And you can make teams and be part of teams also on that. Vivan, if you're listening, could you be able to put the URL for that, for the Encrypt 2022? Any other questions anyone has? Okay. So I'll see you guys soon. And for those who are doing the blockchain developer course, we'll start off our session in about 9 minutes. I hope it's all clear. Everyone is able to hear me. Okay, I'm not getting any response. Yeah, of course, you guys can. Okay, see you guys. And Vivan, if you could put the URL for Encrypt 2022, people could check it out. Okay, bye-bye.